Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Thursday, October 11th, 2018. Yes, this is a Thursday night. And to all the folks, my brothers and sisters up in the Florida Panhandle, Southeast regions that had devastation by Hurricane Michael. Hope you folks just hunker down or actually hang in there with the aftermath. And I know there's some possible death tolls in the area, which is a real shame. And sometimes always got to respect Mother Nature as well. It could be HAARP, I don't know, but it is a real tragic event. They hadn't had anything like that in a good period of time. So that's why in this area, like in Florida and along the Atlantic coast and so forth, you always got to prepare yourselves at the best of your ability. Don't be complacent, remain vigilant, but don't run amok. Because a lot of folks like to do that. I remember Irma, and it was like going, and you can't. That's it's a major distraction. So, and the rescuers up there, thank you for doing your part, and I hope my friends up in Pensacola are doing okay as well. They know who they are. Yeah, so it was interesting because I've been checking on some of the stuff. Looks like they're trying to hold this whole race baiting propaganda once again. Like Eric Holder, Maxine Waters, all the Trump support going after the Trump supporters. And you know me, I'm not a Trump worshiper by any means, but I do find it very juvenile and her conforming if they're going to fall for these dimwits. Many people know I'm not an Eric Holder supporter because he is a bankster's Uncle Tom, a criminal, a treasonous quack. He is no Frederick Douglass by any means, nor Walter Williams and beyond. Just another weasel who'll spread their butt cheeks to the establishment. And I say that symbolically to be exact. All on his ethics. If I call him a bankster's Uncle Tom, because it's all upon the fruits of his labor. Plain and simple. So if you're going to go for this race-baiting bandwagon, calling certain people who support Trump, the worshipers support Trump supporters, racist and bigots and Nazis, you're just blowing hot air, parroting to the road to nowhere. You'll be hitting the major pothole and may not come back out of it. And plus, it really turns me off when I see people talking about they can't stand Alex Jones and they're real happy that Facebook and all these social media sites purged them. Doesn't matter if you like these individuals or not. Purging can spread like wildfire in the name of technocracy. One day the sites they support may be banned, and those individuals will be crying to the wind. I did let them know about Congressman Ted Deutsch wanted Facebook to shadow ban Alex Jones. I call him nothing more than a freedom-hating sap running for Congress once again. I don't know why. Because he loves controlling people. Well, it's so cute because I got one of his campaign ads about firearm safety. I was nice by shredding it up. In reality, I probably use it as toilet paper and send it back to him. That would have been a bigger message. Even Dan Dix from Press for Truth has been purged from Facebook as well, with 350,000 followers around the world. And they claim of sensationalism on his site. I never found that's considered sensationalism, regardless. I always admire the man's work. I subscribe him on YouTube. He follows me on Twitter. And I'm pretty damn pissed off about that as well. Welcome to 1984. The war on journalism continues. Many of them get murdered. Many of them get purged in the name of Big Brother. If you support these forms of censorship, one day your freedoms and liberties can be taken from you and you'd be crying in the wind. Like Schlepp Rock for the Pebbles and Bam Bam show. Wowsy, wowsy, woo woo. Yes, you hear a drawbridge in the back along the new river of Fort Lauderdale. Tap my feet, kicking back. You ever have a chance to go to a cool little facility, downtown or saloon? 10 South New River Drive East. Right under the Andrews Avenue Bridge, next to the Broward County Jail. Been around for a good 25 years. The owners are really cool. Management is nice. Mom and pop facility. Hey, I dig it. I like it. First time I came in there was in 1996. I felt I liked the vibe. And I've been coming back. I said, hey, and they've been good folks. So you should go to downtown or saloon. Downtown or Fort Lauderdale. You won't be disappointed. You can look it up. They have a Facebook page. Hopefully they won't purge that because I'm promoting it. All right. So we're going to go over this whole mind control propaganda. And the fear of anxiety may be happening. And I got a couple of sites here from personalliberty.com. Personal Liberty Media Group, to be exact. Says here, Democrats fear another election day disaster. As it reads, it was this week 2 years ago that Hillary Clinton's victory looked assured when the infamous Access Hollywood tape of Donald Trump bragging about sexual assault appeared all but certain to end his campaign. Jesse Ferguson remembers it well. The deputy press secretary for Clinton's campaign also remembers what happened a month later. It is why this veteran Democratic operative can't shake the feeling that, as promising as the next election looks for this party, it might still all turn out wrong. Election day will either prove to me I have PTSD or show I've been living deja vu, Ferguson said. I just don't know which yet. Ferguson is one of the many Democrats who felt the sting of unexpected defeat in 2016 and now closely and nervously watching the current election near its end, wondering if history will repeat itself. These leaders are trying to win the presidency. Democrats are trying to gain 23 House seats and win a majority. The anxiety isn't universal, with many party leaders professing confidently and repeatedly that this year's really is different. But even some of them acknowledge the similarities between the current and previous election. Donald Trump is unpopular and beset by scandal. Democrats hold leads in the polls, and some Republicans are openly pessimistic. 55-38 gives Democrats 76.9% chance of winning the House 1 month before the election day. Its odds for Clinton's victory 2 years ago was 71.4%. The abundance of optimism brings back queasy memories for Jesse Lyric, who worked in the Clinton campaign and remembers watching the returns come in from the Javits Center in New York. It was getting texts after the result was clear, including even from some political reporters and operatives texting me, are you guys starting to get nervous? Or what's her most likely path, he said. I was like, what do you mean starting to get nervous? What path? They just called Wisconsin. We lost. People were so to process that reality because they just hadn't considered the possibility that Donald Trump was going to be the next president, he continued. Lyric said he sees similarities between 2016 and 2018, but he said he thought Democrats were cognizant on the parallels and determined not to let up a month before the election, as many voters might have 2 years ago. For the latest updates on the 2018 midterm, sign up for News Daily alerts here. Support more election coverage like this. Click here for a digital subscription. All the Democratic leaders aren't so sure. Asked if they thought his party was overconfident. Democratic Representative Seth Moulton responded flatly, yes. Democrats could win a lot of House seats, he said, or still fall short of capturing majority. The point is that we've got to realize that this is not just some unstoppable blue wave, but rather a lot of tough races that will be hard-fought victories, Moulton said. If Democrats are universally nervous about anything after 2016, it's polling. The polls weren't actually a favorable to Clinton and the Democrats, as some remembered, something 538 Nate Silver and some other journalists pointed out at the time. But Clinton's decision not to campaign in states she'd lose, Wisconsin, and failure of pollsters everywhere to miss a wave of Trump supporters in red areas are mistakes Democrats are still grappling with today. Clearly, last cycle, polling was off. Ben Ray Logan, chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, told reporters last month there are a lot of predictions that were made last cycle that didn't come to fruition. Lujan emphasized in particular how pollsters missed the virtual roll, calling it a devastating mistake. He said the DCCC has taken deliberate steps since 2016 to get it right this time around, but underscored a congressional majority still required a tooth and nail fight. So I'm confident with the team that has been assembled, but I am definitely cognizant of the fact we need to understand these models and understand the data for what it is, he said. Ain't that nice? Of course. A lot of predictions here, right? One Democratic pollster said the data he sees makes plain that the party is favored a majority, but that's still not a sure thing, he said. Even now, it's unclear if the political environment will create an electoral tsunami or merely a good year, and the Democrats might still fall short of a House majority. We've all learned a lesson from 2016. There are multiple possibilities and outcomes, said the pollster. Granted anonymity to discuss polling data 1 month before the election, and if you haven't learned that lesson, shame on you. That 20% outcome can happen. That 30% outcome can happen. This year, Democrats have history on their side. The incumbent president's party historically struggles during midterm elections. That wasn't the case in 2016, when Democrats were trying to win the presidency for 3 consecutive terms for the first time in their history since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The GOP accomplished the feat only once in the same period with Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush. Some Democratic leaders say the reality of Trump's presidency, unlike its hypothetical state in 2016, changes the dynamic entirely. Democratic energy is at nuclear levels, and said Steve Israel, a former DCCC chairman. Democrats will crawl over broken glass to vote in this election. Israel said he still has concerns about November. Political operatives always have concerns about the upcoming elections, but he waved the notion that the party might fall short of a House majority. Most Democrats and a heck of a lot of Republicans I speak to believe that Democrats have a majority. He said the question is by how much. Interesting about that, right? Ferguson, of course, of two minds. He thinks the push to repeal the Affordable Care Act and the day-to-day reality of Trump's presidency fundamentally changes how voters will see this election. In one moment. All right. Yes, one of the colleagues who work at Downtowners doing a little readjusting here. So, all right. So it's very interesting. This whole is one-dimensional stuff, and you know how these people are. They did campaign all these areas, and everyone just manifests. That's what campaigns do. But he's also gun-shy about what could change in the next month after heeding multitudes of surprises that occurred during the last month of the 2016 race. Whether the Access Hollywood recording or then FBI Director James Comey announcement that the investigation into Clinton's emails was reopened, many Republicans argue the 2018 election has already seen its October surprise, with the confirmation fight over Brett Kavanaugh finally motivating conservative voters to vote. You know how I look at him in good faith, right? I don't know what October surprise will be, Ferguson said, but we make a mistake if we assume that we are seeing today is what we'll see for the entire month. We lived through it 2 years ago. This is Alex Rowery from the McClatchy, Washington Bureau. Well, you know how this is. This is one of those areas. Everyone's worried about the blue wave. You hear all the hype and hoopla. When it comes to results, they will belly up and go, what happened? All those fascist people, etc. This is what happens when you folks follow the hype and the hoopla. Okay? I'm seeing that again in 2018. All this big talk about this and that, what people want to hear, which I don't give a damn about. They want us to be more dependent on them. That's called, it's like jumping off a cliff, jumping off a cliff without a parachute. Why is that? It's government. They want to control you. That's one of the areas we gotta really realize. So, all the Democrats are desperate? Yeah, according to some of the videos I've seen, Maxine Waters, Eric Holder, and going to Republican bashing. And you want that clown Eric Holder to run for president in 2020? Watch it, buddy. That's obscene. How dare you make fun of me? Well, you know how that goes. Well, I'll just wonder how much fear is going to happen. Wonder what's going to occur with the hype and hoop was happening in the state of Florida with Andrew Gillum and Ron DeSantis. Who's going to cut their wrists if their candidate don't make it or jump off a building? I'm not. They want to bust all their chops anyway, regardless. That's just my nature. Remember, government's expedience, your freedoms aren't. You got natural born rights, and they want to say they know more. You can't use them well. Well, the hell what they think. When you make this vote on election day, my friends, you examine everything thoroughly. So watch it on the idiot tube. Go deeper on what they achieved, how they voted. Then you be a more wiser voter. Wise voter. Okay, so. And of course, you guys see the more political hoopla, control, phrases, and code words. This is from PersonalLiberty.com. This is by Bob Livingston. And as it reads here, but a request that members of the common herd be imprisoned in abject ignorance, never doubting that they are free and self-sovereign individuals who are in control of their lives and families and who can speak freely or any subject they choose and worship whatever God their conscience dictates. Someone unknown person. Do you believe Nikki Haley has been a UN ambassador? I don't think so. Another neocon scum queen, I would say. So it says here, so that there is such an avalanche of information bombarding the American people that it has a mind-numbing effect. That information is peppered with code words and control phrases which are designed to dictate thoughts, patterns, modify behavior, and create predictable responses. Pavlov's Dog Theory 101. Most people are unaware that code words and control phrases exist, and that the aim of the unseen powers is to ensure the masses of people believe essentially the same thing. Not because governments thrive on control, conformity, and manipulation. Yeah, they want to be the sheep herders, the sheep herders, the shepherds, the cow masters. Moo. Government insists on conformity because government wants to control the people. Where is the conformity? There is control. Edward L. Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, knew a thing or two about a mass persuasion. He is the father of manipulative propaganda in America. His book, Propaganda, Bernays writes, those who manipulate the unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We govern our minds molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested largely by men we have never heard of. In almost every act of our lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business or in social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires that controls the public mind. Can we say mind control? I call these people, Bernays talk about change agents. Change agents operate in the back rooms or inner sanctums of power, and their job is to create control words or phrases that are repeated over and over to dumb us down and dictate conditioned responses. So the words and phrases the establishment creates and uses against us can rightly be called control words or control phrases. Words and phrases created that are used to drive the debate and create a ready acceptance of laws and policies that reduce liberty and debase society. Once these words and phrases become part of conventional wisdom through continued use, the challenges to the newly accepted definitions are ridiculed and dismissed. For instance, the substitution of the word gender, a grammatical term, for the word sex, a biological term, is a distinguishing descriptor for male or female is the work for these change agents. The effects is to program the mind. It removes a biological component that distinguishes male from female and inserts an historic component that allows for the denial of reality and creation of an alternate reality. I have written about code words before. See code words and more code words. Common ones are terms like public society, which really means government policy. Conspiracy theory, which means any challenge to conventional wisdom. Extremist, which means anyone who advocates for small government and a return to the Constitution. And terrorist, which means anyone the government decides, including Americans who advocate for liberty. But the ones are constantly entering the lexicon, and ones are giving new life. Here are some coming into regular use of late. White privilege. This phrase implies that all successful white people obtain their status simply because of their skin color and because the system is tilted in their favor. It dismisses and diminishes hard work and seeks to establish the notion that anything a white person has or does is illegitimate. It's been used to great effect by social Marxists to keep racial and sexual animosity at a fever pitch and to silence those who support traditional conservatives and Judeo-Christian values. Well, I always say this. I don't make a phone call and go, yeah, government, I'm a white guy. Can I make love to my wife at around midnight tonight? Okay? I don't need permission. My rights are natural born regardless of my skin color. You can call me a graham cracker for all I care. And even the people who are African American descent are not slaves. You gotta get out of this whole mind control propaganda. All right, so here's a few others down the line. Bad optics. This one reared in his head in the Brett Kavanaugh hearing. It is code for everything is unfair. It is being conducted by a white conservative male, and old white Republican men should not make decisions on women's issues. Only liberals can participate in the process, and sex, age, and race does not matter. It's designed to delegitimize any process in which a white conservative male is involved. So they want to give you that guilt trip saying, You should apologize for being white. Piss on them. And this came out of my mouth. The heck with them, okay? And it says here, trade bullyism. China's response to President Trump's trade war, what China calls America's trade protectionism while ignoring its own protectionism, another version of its political bullying. Hillary used this very tactic when she told CNN, you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. If we are fortunate enough to win back the House and or the Senate, that's when civility can start again. Classic example of projecting, i.e. accusing the other side of doing exactly what members of your side are guilty of. What do you call that? Witch hunting. Hillary Clinton has a witch hunting fetish, and that's an example from a globalist scum queen. Plain and simple. Her husband and daughter are members of the Council of Foreign Relations. So New World Order approved Hillary Clinton is nothing more than a treasonous quack based on her actions. Oh, you Hillary worshippers are offended? Who cares? National security. This is now a new code for we can do whatever we want. The we can be any government agency. Claiming national security automatically puts any inquiry off limits and legitimizes any government action, no matter how nefarious. Like the Patriot Act. We can all hold hands in Kumbaya and sing God bless the Patriot Act. It's done for our own good. And even you go to the NFL games, people get passed down little prisoners, and they go, I support giving up my freedom for security, but when I watch my football, I am patriotic. I'll continue on here. Diversity means anti-white male and anti-Judeo-Christian values. Capitalism. American system is not capitalism. It has not been for more than 100 years. What's called capitalism today is actually corporatism. Fewer corporations controlling everything. Example of what we have in media, big tech, and pharmaceuticals. It is a result in authoritarianism and a kind of fascism. However, socialists who are becoming more ascendant in American politics of late, especially among the younger crowd, are blaming this on capitalism, which is a lie. If we had real capitalism and a real free market, this wouldn't happen. And I always recommend folks reading the book How Capitalism Saved America by Thomas J. DiLorenzo. And you should check out the other book he did called Hamilton's Curse. So definitely look it up. You'll be amazed. It's not capitalism that destroyed Detroit. It's not capitalism that put cities in blighted areas more of a burden. Okay? So, gotta look at the facts before listening to clowns. The objective media. This means the agenda of the state is a control phrase used to bolster the concept that the only real news comes from the mainstream media. Today, all mainstream media are controlled by 6 mega corporations. Any media does not toe the official line of the government is considered biased media, especially when it publishes the truth. Of course, look at all the purges going on Facebook, Twitter, and maybe Google Plus, just to give you a few. Now, this is one thing: is they want to use a mind control game and say we are right, you are wrong. You will comply with us for your own good. Many folks out there better start learning about the truth about September 11, 2001. If not, you're gonna have history repeats itself. So this is why everyone out there, even my Facebook pen pals and friends, when I see some of the stuff about Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that, Trump blame Trump for everything, come on. Don't be like Hillary Clinton. She hates your guts. You're being used as a overaged dish rag. right out of Edward Bernays' playbook propaganda. Yeah, you should get that online on the PDF format. You might have to go to archive.org. If not, just look it up. You'd be amazed. This book came out in 1928. So definitely check it out. Buzzwords are dangerous. So please, my friends, always look at things in the bigger picture. One moment. Sorry about that. We're going to do one more here, babes. Here's here from the Daily Mail. Joe Jarvis came out today. It says here, to save humanity, stop caring about so many problems. Why does it suck to be around someone who's always complaining? Because they are centralizing their problems to the group. We all get annoyed by things, but when people broadcast what annoys them, they force everyone around them to share in their annoyance. I see that a lot. Great point. So then, not only we feel annoyed by whether naturally irks us, but we are also forced to feel annoyed by other person's complaints. By sharing their complaint with others, they have increased the overall annoyance of the group. Instead of being annoyed for 5 minutes by my own problems, I am annoyed for 10 minutes. 5 minutes by the complaints I keep in my head, and 5 minutes by their complaints they forced into my ears. Society is super annoying. Of course. There are a lot of problems in the world. You can't care about all of them. And if you try, you'll probably feel overwhelmed, depressed, and powerless. Yet we rely on big centralized institutions like national media, national politics, and national monetary policy. This produces the same result as our complaining acquaintances. They force problems on all of us that really shouldn't affect 320 million Americans from coast to coast. I am sorry so many people get shot in Chicago. Sounds like a good reason not to live in Chicago. But if you do live in Chicago, I understand why you're concerned with gun violence. But I don't live in Chicago, so keep your solutions the hell away from me in rural Florida. It might sound like I'm saying you shouldn't care about national or global problems, but what I'm saying is you should care about what you care about. You shouldn't be forced to care about what other people care about. Orphans, puppy mills, political rivers, abuses of priests, tsunamis, endangered animals, illiteracy, tropical diseases, crashing stocks, soaring housing costs, homeless pooping on sidewalks. Are you stressed yet? All of these are great problems to tackle for the right people, but we don't need to occupy ourselves with all these problems. By all means, tackle one of these issues, especially if it's happening in your backyard. Educate anyone interested, but don't bully or shame them if they don't care about what you care about. Everyone has to choose what to focus on. It is not like I don't care about extreme poor in Africa, but I have other things to deal with closer to home. But I can't possibly solve everyone's world problem. I probably can't even solve most of the town problems. I have, by the way, donated an orphanage to Africa, but don't you think it's easier for me to track the benefits of my donations to a local charity that helps foster kids, whose thrift store I have donated and purchased from, whose charity race I participated in? I certainly hope the money I give to an African cause goes to the right place and is used effectively, but I can verify firsthand that my donations are making a difference here in town. In the end, this means problems get solved by people who care about them the most, who are affected by them, who are the closest to the issue that's more efficient. It means people with the most skin in the game put together the solutions, and more actually gets done this way. By specializing in the causes that mean the most of us, we use our energy and expertise in the best way possible. If we try to get all 320 Americans on board, or all 7 billion Humans involved, nothing happens, but everyone is upset. Experts and specialists. This happens to be how the economy is naturally organized. When I go to a restaurant, I pay money for food and be prepared and served to me. I don't have the fine capital to build a restaurant, hire the cooks and waiters, buy food in bulk, and pay the electric bill. I just show up and pay. Even restaurant owners don't have to grow the actual food for his restaurant. He doesn't hire truckers to ship it. He doesn't have to build an electric plant and run wires to the restaurant either. He pays for electricity and the sources for the food. And he also doesn't have to slice up tomatoes, take orders, or sweep the front entrance. He hires staff for those jobs. The economy is split up into little segments. Everybody's role is different. This makes it efficient and doesn't bog us down with details that don't concern us. Everyone does their own job better by ignoring the jobs they don't need to do. The restaurant owner should not tell the cook how to chop the tomatoes, and the cook should not tell the owner how to spend his advertising dollars. Yet, we do this much more extreme in important cases. Politicians set the licensing requirements for hairdressers. Politicians use our money to bomb countries most Americans can't even place on the map. The Federal Reserve sets interest rates. This is the same reason why socialism has always been such a monumental failure. It operates under the myth that you can centralize control of something as complex as an economy. It encourages you to get involved in matters that doesn't affect you and force others to conform to your subjective whims. This is why central planning fails. 320 Americans should not be controlled by 435 legislators and one executive in Washington, D.C. that cannot possibly know enough about all of our lives, and they should make a good decision for us, even if they wanted to. You don't have to play by the rules of the corrupt politicians, manipulative media, and brainwashed peers. Interesting enough, right? Something to really look at. Always gotta choose your battles wisely, and see things, in a local level. Because as long as you got transactions, that's awesome. Because the time I go to a thrift store like Out of the Closet, and everything, the money goes to a good cause. STD checks, tests, and all that, which I encourage. I think it's fantastic. I'm not saying go whoring around and just get an STD check every time, HIV check. But the whole thing, the truth of the matter is, we got to take care of our health and try not to go too bonkers, all right? So choose your battles wisely. Pick a few things. We cannot change the world, but we can inspire others in our community that can spread like wildfire, all right? Okay. Well, I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download, share, and search to be networks. If you have any questions, comments, or going to send me something that's interesting you may want to check out. Whatever you do, please address the correspondence with decorum. I'll be hitting all my social media sites on my Spreaker page, okay? I'm getting a little crank-tired here. So that's it. Once again, thank you for your time. But always remember that demoniac resistance, healthy for the soul, can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.